everybody. Welcome so much welcome. How about that? Yes, I just mixed my words up. So much welcome, right? Welcome. It is a beautiful Sunday night and you guys are choosing to hang out with me and I'm so thankful for it. I'm gonna remind everybody right now, if you have not muted yourself, go ahead and mute yourself. Only because I have the attention span of a golden retriever and that's really helpful for me if you can mute yourself so I'm not looking around what's happening all the time. That's helpful. There will be times where I'll ask you to participate and if you want to unmute yourself then or even turn on your video, I would love to see your lovely faces. That would be awesome. But if you haven't read anything about the event, if you're just now jumping in and you're hanging out with us, my name is Olivia Fitchett and I'm a life and leadership coach and speaker. And I feel like, maybe you all have people like this, but I feel like there are certain people in your life that you're like, okay, you can't really know me without knowing this person. So think in your head who that is for you. And this is who it is for me. This person over here on the right is my twin sister and I. This is Caroline on the right. And of course, that's me right there. This was a couple years ago, but she is like my absolute best friend. We know everything about each other. We have a house together. We've literally not been separated for more well, actually I traveled. So we haven't been separated for that long. We're FaceTiming all the time when I was gone. She knows everything about me. One of those people you can communicate by just like a look. And if you don't have a sister like that, you probably have a friend like that. So you can't really know me without me introducing you to Caroline. So that's Caroline. Meet Caroline. Over here on the left, that is my fiance, Tyler. So we just got engaged in November and we're getting married in this coming November. So I'm so excited about that and still getting like used to this ring thing too. So if you see me like messing with it, it's just normal engaged problems. So that's Tyler. He and I are like that awkward couple. He's 6'6" and I am like pushing 5'5". Like at the doctor, they're like, how tall are you? And I'm like, I am 5'4" and like 3/4. Like I am just about there. So we're like that weird couple you see walking down the street, like, oh, like there's so much height difference. That is Tyler. Two most important people in my life right there. So you have to know them. Now, next, of course, I have to include my little babies. This is Cassidy on the right, on the left, the black and white puppy there. And then Cole is the bad boy in the back. Cole is like that dog that have you ever walked up to someone's dog, you're like, can I pet your dog? And the person's like, actually, like that dog might bite you, so like don't pet him. That's Cole. That is that bat dog. And doesn't he look like trouble? Like he looks like the worst, right? I love him to death, but he is trouble. Cassidy in the front, he's like the sweet little angel baby. He's like the sweetest little dog. Oh my gosh, I love him. They're both old men and they're my old men. I love them so much. This is a picture of me skateboarding. It's what I do for fun. If I'm not coaching, if I'm not speaking, if I'm not working, I am skateboarding. It is my outlet. It is a fun fact about me. And I've just picked it up again. So this is me recently. And you notice I pad up from like head to toe. I'm like the only person at the skate park. All these like cool guys that are like doing a bunch of tricks and stuff with like no helmet. I'm like barely moving because I've got like so much padding on. So no shame on that. But yes, I love skateboarding. So whenever I was in college, I got the opportunity to intern at the White House for Michelle Obama. It was amazing. So you all know, you all are students at IUS, so you've been in the loop. You have to do this thing before you graduate. It's called an internship, or you have to write a big long paper. And I didn't want to write the big long paper, so I wanted to get an internship. So I got on this listserv, and maybe you all know the name for this listserv. It's escaping me now, but they'll send you different internship opportunities. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm a psych major. I didn't want to intern here or there. And the White House popped up on it, and I thought, how neat would that be? And just to get a rejection letter, even that would be cool. It would come with like White House letterhead, right? Like let's just try for that. So I do the application, I apply for it, I do all the things. One of my sorority sisters looked over the application, we hit submit, and next thing you know, I'm on the phone with a crew in the East Wing, and they're wanting to hire me, and it was ridiculous. So I took a flight, went all the way out to Washington, D.C., interned under Michelle Obama. And yes, in case you're wondering, I did specifically place my hand there on her shoulder. They were like, okay, ready? 1, 2. And I was like, yeah, just so I could be like, yes, I touched Michelle Obama's shoulder. So that's the story behind that. It was the most incredible, incredible time I seriously have ever had. After I left the White House, I had the opportunity to work at Sigma Kappa sorority. And if you don't know by now, I'm a fellow grenadier, and I also was part of Sigma Kappa sorority. I graduated back in 2016. And so I'm kind of removed, but like I'm not old yet, right? I'm like in this limbo, right? Like I'm still relevant. So so I had this opportunity. Once I walked across the stage, I was going to go work for Sigma Kappa as a traveling consultant. Those of you who've been around before COVID times probably had a consultant. If you're in a sorority or in a fraternity, you probably had a consultant come and visit your university. But with that, oh, there's me and Michelle Obama again. Hey, with that, I got to travel to so many cool places. I'm telling you. I got to travel over here on the far right. This is me in Colorado on a hike with a bunch of Sigma Kappa sisters out there. They were like, yeah, let's go hike a mountain. I said, let's go hike a mountain. They're like, you want to hike a foothill. You don't want to hike a mountain. Well, I can do it. I, like a baby, cried all the way up there because my lungs were like giving out on this foothill. I call it a mountain now. It looks like a mountain. So we go hike there. Here in the middle, where I'm sitting down, this is Crater Lake in Oregon. I got to spend some time in Oregon. Beautiful place. It was amazing. I took a solo trip here to LA. It was amazing. It just coast to coast. It was so much fun. And then here on the left, the far left, I'm at the University of Houston, where I was able to start a brand new chapter at the University of Houston. It was incredible. And what I love the most about this job is part of it was meeting about goals. Part of it was meeting about, are you meeting your standards? Are you controlling your budget? Are you creating it? All of these markers. A lot of it was that, but most of it was relationship building. And what I love the most is at the end of the day, we would get to gather, and in my apartment, I would have students come in all the time, and we would just have conversations about, what do you want in life? What are your dreams? What are your goals? What are the things that keep you up at night that you're dreaming about, but you're too scared to say? We would have these conversations that were just life-changing. And so this on top of working in the White House and making my life all about public service, all about taking people from point A to point B, it really empowered me so much that they started calling me a life coach at University of Houston. So this is actually me with crazy hair and in my apartment in Houston, where this seed was actually planted. Somebody sent me this Snapchat thing that I don't do anymore. They sent me this Snapchat and said my LC, which stood for leadership consultant, AKA life coach, is back. And I was like, huh, is there something to that? You know? And so then a seed in my brain started to plant. Went home, got myself a mentor. This is Lindsay Picardo. Maybe you've heard of her. Maybe you've not heard of her. She's a big speaker in the Greek community. And I said, I saw her at a Sigma Kappa conference, and I approached her up at the stage afterwards. And I said, I want to do what you do. And we became very close. And so she started taking me on trips with her, and we started getting our feet dug into the mud together and figuring things out. And I went to the same coaching school as her. And then I just weaseled my way onto as many stages as I possibly could. Some I didn't belong on for sure. Anything to have opportunities to practice. The first one over here on the right, that's at a Founders Day event a few years ago for Sigma Kappa. That was my first keynote ever. Here in the middle, it's at our national convention, and I was kicking off a campaign. And then over here on the left, I did some preaching, and I was always preaching at church. So anything to make that dream happen and keep trucking along. After this is a real life photo of me after I quit a very toxic full-time job to be able to coach and speak. I show this picture and I tell you this about me to tell you, you guys, all of what we're talking about today has to do with what you're thinking about. And the decisions you make are all based on the thought processes you have. This picture shows a really hard time in my life. I showed you pictures in the last couple of minutes that shows you some really exciting times. Life is going to get crazy and messy, and hasn't that been true in 2021? But even through it, we have the power to make choices that are empowering us. And even if it's ugly for a moment, even if it's tiring for a moment, we have the ability to create a new reality for us. And that's what I intend to introduce today. So I'm going to stop my screen share right now. We're going to pause on this. And let's see, am I back? Yes, I'm back. Awesome. And so this is where I want to start today. I wanted you to get to know a little bit about me. And I'd love the opportunity to get to know a little bit about you sometime after this, in the comments, through our little conversations throughout on social media afterwards. Let's get together, let's get to know each other. But one thing you have to know about me as we're going in is my top value is fun. And if we're not going to have fun today, I don't want to be a part of it. Period. It's just that's who I am. Okay. And so I hope you're on board with that. And so let's talk about a little bit about how we got here. We're going to talk about where we're going. We're going to talk about our dreams. We're going to talk about how we're changing our thought process. But for a second, let's take a second and just appreciate how we're literally here today. I mean, we don't think about that. Right now, it's very much, and it's been the last couple of years, we've been in survival mode, haven't we? Last year and 2019, 2020, 2021, the beginning of it, right? We're almost halfway through. That's crazy. We're in survival mode. It's been a long, hard year for everybody. We can't ignore that. We can't ignore that. And we felt ways we never thought we would feel. We never anticipated feeling. We've grown in ways that we didn't even know we needed to grow in. Isn't that true? And we've seen that 2021 is already been kind of predictable. We have unpredictable. We've cried this year. We've hurt this year. A lot of us have outstretched a hand and helped someone else this year. I remember I had an extra container of toilet paper that I actually had, and then a waitress inside was like, I haven't had toilet paper. And like I went and shared my toilet paper. I never envisioned having to share a necessity like that. We have been challenged and tried with so much we weren't expecting. But we made it. We've made it to here. And that's something to celebrate. Let's not miss out on that. And we're going to talk about how to equip ourselves to celebrate that, how to take what we've seen and transform it into the future. And I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be excited. And guys, I want you to give yourself a hug for this. You know, it's a pretty freaking big deal that we're able to say that. And so here's what you can expect from me today. I want to set us straight and get us in a thankful mindset before we jump in. And so yeah, I first wanted to say, you know, how big of a deal it is. And it's something that we take for granted. So definitely going into this, let's come from a place of celebration for where we are. So here's what you're going to expect today, and here's what we're going through. Here's the rest of our schedule. So you're going to hear from me on what we're talking about today, and you're going to hear from other people if you feel like it intermittently, and we'll use the chat for that, unless you want to come up on screen, or if you want to unmute yourself and talk a little bit. However you want to do it, sounds good. You'll use the chat for questions. Any questions you have throughout, use the chat. I'm going to ask Janelle to kind of manage that if questions come up. And then keep it casual. Keep it casual. Mute unless you want to talk. And dogs are always welcome. So like if your video's on and like a dog pops on your lap, like please, by all means, like let's invite that situation. So definitely want to see those things. So first, before we get into anything else, I know that it is the beginning of a brand new week, but it's the end of the weekend, and you have been crazy. You have been doing things. It is almost finals season. So what I want you to do is I want everybody to take a minute and just breathe. Here's how we're going to do it. If you want to turn your video off, if you want to keep it on, I'm going to keep mine on. But what we're going to do is we're going to seriously, intentionally pause, and we're going to breathe. So we're going to go in our nose, fill up your tummy, and then out your mouth. And we're going to do that for a minute. And while we're doing that, I don't want you to focus on anything in particular. I just want you to rest. Let's reset, and let's get ready to walk into this with a fresh mindset, a thankful mindset, and a refreshed spirit. So I'm going to set the timer for a minute. So for a minute, focus on that breathing and just slow down for a second. All right, we'll come back in just a minute. that nice? Isn't it nice to just breathe for a second? Don't we just take that for granted? And so that's free today. That's free. Go and do that whenever you want. Whenever you want to break, whenever you want to put a pin in something, you're feeling yourself spiral out of control, you can sit there and you can breathe. It feels like the world's moving so quick, but you can force yourself to take a break. So I hope that was good for you. That was good for me. And so, okay, now I want you to write in the chat how, let's change it this time. Normally I'll ask one thing. I'm gonna ask you guys something else. Why did you choose to tune in today? Why is this something that you wanted to make sure that you did not miss? You're taking time out of your weekend. You are here for something. There was something in the description. Somebody told you to be somewhere, and there's something that pulled you to this. So write in the chat, why do you want to be here today? Why are you excited to be with me? Oh my gosh, that isn't True Blood. Because you're my sister, I love hearing you speak. Oh my gosh, love you too, homegirl. And while you're doing that, while those are rolling in, I just want to tell you why I decided to write this course, okay? Why I decided to write this course is, this is going to sound like a real big stretch here. I want you to go here with me, is because I think that a lot of what we do can be boiled down to a few simple items. And I think that they're a lot more in control than the world would like us to think they are. I think this very complex idea of action and making the right choice and being in a good mood about something, or even creating a new behavior, anything you want to do, I think it could all be whittled down to just a few items to talk about. It's just how deep we want to go on them. It's just how much we want to commit. Okay, so I want you to get on board with that, and I want you to try me. At the end of this, if you're still having doubts, I want you to try me and challenge me on it. Okay. I love hearing more, encourage myself to get better. Yes, so learning ways in which I can better myself. And you're a great, and you're a great speaker. Thing, you know. That's not why I like ask this question, by the way. I love hearing you speak. Okay, I love you guys. I knew this was going to be fun. I would get a lot out of it. Yes. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being honest. And here's why I decided to speak with you guys too. And about it, you know, what I just said. Yes, true. But also, I was in your shoes not too long ago. I kind of understand what it's like to be a student at IUS. I know what it's like to be a chapter officer. I don't know what it's like to be a college student during a pandemic, but I do know how it is to be a human in a pandemic. Okay, so I love you guys, and this is just a special group that I always want to talk to. So definitely want to put that in there too. So I have come up with a term, and if you're taking notes, if you are making little mental notes, make this mental note, make this physical note. I have come up with this term that describes how we navigate through this. And when I say through this, I mean the craziness that has been the last year, okay? And how we stay in one piece during all of this. This is this idea of choices, this idea of how we keep it all together during these times, and how we create new habits and behaviors. It all stems from this idea of personal and professional agility. Okay, I made that up. Someone else might have made it up before me, but that's my term as far as I know. Personal and professional agility. What I mean by that is this ability to move in this constriction, right? And what this constriction can look like is virtual learning, not being able to be in class. It's constricting your freedom. Questions about COVID-19. Let's not even touch on politics in the last year, right? Work situations, things that we can't control. And we begin to feel constricted, like we don't have a say in our college experience anymore. You all have freshmen, those of you that are in sororities, you all have freshmen that are thinking, you know, maybe a little bit of my college experience has been ruined. It's kind of been stolen from me. You have members that think that. I don't care what chapter you're in. People have this idea that their freedoms are being taken away, and we feel constricted, like we don't have control. And when we don't have control, there's a level of uncertainty that hits us, isn't there? I remember going to Lowe's for the first time in the middle of the pandemic, or when the pandemic started. And I remember going in and there was like cops outside like this, like there's like police officers, and you go in, right? And then everyone's got the mask on. You're going, what is going on? I want you to think back to the first time you went out in public with a mask and everyone was wearing masks. It was scary. It was really scary. I remember going into Lowe's and like being really conscious of like the 6-foot thing was like very literal. Like it was like, I would remember going around and like doing this number and like trying to like dodge everybody. And like if someone was in like my aisle, I was like going around the aisle. You remember you're like peeking around, I'm gonna go, I don't want to pass them to. It was like this mind game. It was like this mind game. I remember getting in line, I didn't even pay. I like put it down before I left and I was like, screw this. And I got home, got on the couch, and I just fell asleep. It felt like I took the SAT. Anxiety happens when we lose our sense of control, when we lose our sense of choice. Anxiety happens when we lose our sense of choice. Uncertainty happens when we lose our sense of choice. How true is that? If that's true for you, type it in the chat. That's true. If it's not true, whatever your thoughts are on that, I want to hear it. How true is that? Anxiety happens when we lose that sense of control or choice. And what I'm talking about right now is not, let me be very clear, it's not clinical anxiety. It's not, we're not talking about a chemical imbalance in your brain right now. We are not talking about that. Coming from somebody that grew up in diagnosed with clinical anxiety and OCD, I can tell you that there is a difference between I'm spiraling out of control. Maybe those of you that struggle with anxiety know that spiral versus I'm just having some anxiety and I know I have a choice here. We're talking about two separate things, okay? Not talking about a clinical panic attack. So I want to make that very clear before I go into the rest of this. So it all starts with what we think about. It's all going to start with what we think about. The tool I'm going to teach you right now, and we'll build the rest of our conversation together out of this tool. The tool I'm about to tell you about right now has the power to change everything. Pay attention, and I'm going to show you a graph. If you don't take anything from this day, from this time together, take this. This is called the thought, feeling, action model, okay? If you're taking notes, I want you to make a triangle. Make a triangle and put a T up there at the top, put an F over here. So I think it's backwards on your own screen, but it's on the right. And then put an A over here on that left side. And I'm going to talk you through it. And I have clients, I teach corporate clients. I have clients that have this model, this little triangle, like put up on their wall above their computer because it works that well. So let's not overcomplicate this. This is the tool I was telling you about when I said I think that all of our actions can be broken down into a couple little pieces. So let's say you want to get up and run a marathon, okay? You want to start training for a marathon. It's time to start getting those small miles, and you're not going to break off the whole thing. You're not going to get up and run 26 miles. You're going to run a mile this morning and just get going. If your mindset, so say your mindset is, I'm a little overweight, I don't feel like going. I've tried this before and it just never worked out. I'm listening to what other people say and thinking I'm not going to be able to do this. This is not something that is in my blood. I don't even know why I try. I don't want to sweat. I can't wake up early. And you get going, I'm like saying this, and I'm like, oh gosh, that sounds like me sometimes. Like, how many of you guys, that wheels are turning? So having that thought, say those are our thoughts, okay? That's our thoughts about getting up and running a mile or 2 miles or whatever that looks like. We're gonna feel probably pretty discouraged, right? Pay attention where these arrows are going to as well. We're gonna feel probably pretty discouraged. We're gonna feel let down. We're not gonna feel like we have any self-esteem. We're gonna feel not good enough. Ooh, that one's poisonous. We're gonna feel not good enough. Feel like we can't do it. Feel unworthy. What do you think we're gonna do if we're feeling not good enough? If we're feeling not worthy? Do we think we're gonna get up and run the mile? Yes or no? No, probably not. Probably not. And if we do, here's like one of these things. If we do, is we're gonna do it twice, and then we're gonna stop. You ever set a goal like that for New Year's? Yeah, okay. Don't raise your hand. Everyone's like getting called out now. Me too. So imagine this. Imagine the same scenario. I'm gonna get up and run a mile. I can do this. This is a new thing, but hey, listen, I got this. I got this. I can get up. I can run it. I'm gonna, if I need to walk, that's okay. Like all of a sudden I'm getting all of these great thoughts going through my head about how I can do it, how I'm worth it. How do you think I'm gonna feel? Well, I'm probably gonna feel a little motivated. I'm gonna feel, dare I say, excited to get up and run. We're gonna feel ready to go. We're gonna be energized. You think you're gonna run if that's your mindset? Probably. You're probably gonna get up and run. You're gonna try, right? Let's make it a little more personal, okay? So say Janelle, I'm gonna pick Janelle. Janelle is in downtown Louisville, and she sees Kylie, and Janelle's like, oh my gosh, there's Kylie. And so she's like across the street, Kylie's like, Janelle's like, hey, there's Kylie. Hey, Kylie, how you doing? Kylie does one of these things. It's happened to all of us, right? Kylie does one of these, and she like looks at her and then just like looks away. And Janelle, all of a sudden, she's going, man, that's rude. That was super rude. Why would she do that? Why would she? I can't believe she did that. What the heck? What did I get wrong? Did I read her email wrong? Did I forget her birthday? Like what's happening? So she's probably gonna feel, that's her thought, she's probably gonna feel a little embarrassed. It's kind of like if you ever waved at somebody and you're thinking like, at me, or like, yeah, you don't know what to do. She might feel a little embarrassed, don't know what to do. She may be feeling annoyed, maybe rejected, maybe mad at Kylie. And maybe the action here is, if we're working out those feelings, well, she's probably not going to text her back next time. Or even better, Janelle's going to go to all the Sigma Kappa sisters and like all the like Phi Sig sisters and go like, listen, you'll never believe what Kylie did. Like she was so rude. Like I can't believe she did that. Right? We've all never done that before, right? So that's one way that could go. Okay, let's say that Janelle saw Kylie and she thought, and she's waving and she's whatever, and she's, oh my God, just like crosswalk and like little kids are running around, the craziness. And she thinks, she looked at me and she just walked away. Maybe she didn't see me. Maybe she didn't see me. Listen, there's nothing personal about it. Like maybe she didn't see me. Maybe she's busy. Maybe something just happened and she's trying to get to the next spot. Not gonna worry about it. Let's just like brush it off and make sure it looks like nobody saw that. Let's just keep going, right? Okay. So then she's probably gonna be a little bit understanding. Yeah, maybe something's going on with her. Oh, maybe I need to check in on her. So her action maybe is gonna send her an email or maybe send her a text. I forget I'm not talking to corporate clients, so you're probably gonna text her. Normally I do this for corporate people. You're gonna text her, you're gonna call her, you're gonna see her in class and be like, yo, what's up? Are you doing okay? You forgot, or you didn't wave to me. You forgot to like text me. Are you okay? You know, and it's gonna, and you're gonna check on her, make sure she's okay. All of this, both of those situations, the one thing they had in common is that the action happened the same way. We had a thought, we then had a feeling, and then had an action. And in both of those scenarios I gave you, it was the same scenario in two different things happened. We talked through two different situations, but it was the same situation. Does that make sense? What you can do is literally predict what's going to happen based on your thoughts. And here's the thing. Let's say it's the marathon. Let's say we're going to do the marathon. So let's say we have a good attitude. Good attitude here. I can do this. This is new. It's exciting. I can't wait to get on the journey. We're feeling pretty motivated because of our thought, right? We're feeling motivated. We're feeling ready to go. And then we run a mile. Hey, we got it. So what are we doing now? Oh, we're going to try again. We're gonna do it again. I'm motivated. I'm excited. So then I'm gonna feel super motivated. I'm probably gonna feel pretty freaking proud of myself. So then we're gonna go over here to action. We're gonna get a mile and a half in. Wow. Okay, great. Now do you see what I'm doing? It's self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what this is. Let's not overcomplicate this. I feel like that like clap. Let's not overcomplicate this. Now, this is why everybody has an Aunt Karen that posts on Facebook every single New Year's Eve. Yeah, we all know her. And this is the year I'm gonna quit smoking. This is it. This is the year, like cigarettes are done, you know. And then the next year happens, and you're like, there's Karen, she's talking about quitting smoking again, right? And then it'll go on, you know, day 35, and then accountability's great, not dogging on it, you know. But then a week later, it's done. It's done. And then the same thing happens next year and the year after. And that's because we're not changing the thought. We're not changing the thought. And it's not changing our feeling. And we're doing the same thing over and over. And this can look like so many different scenarios. It can look like, I know a lot of you guys are in chapters, so think about your chapter. Think about that one activity that everyone's got some like negative energy around, right? And we like, nobody wants to do this. Everybody's got that thing. What is that thing for your chapter? What are they thinking about? How is that making them feel? And why aren't they showing up to chapter meeting? You can apply this to so many things, okay? And this is easy enough for you to take back to your chapters. I don't have to be there to explain it to them. It's simple. You take that back to your chapters and you can explain it to them. And you can see where it's showing up for them. So it stands to reason. Tell me if I'm wrong. Stands to reason. If we can change our thoughts, we can change our action, right? If we can change our thoughts, we can change our action. And this is the part I love in the talk. We simply cannot expect ourselves to have an action that our thoughts are not supporting. Does that make sense? We can't expect ourselves to have a particular action that our thoughts are not supporting. In other words, if I set to run in the morning for training for my marathon, and I'm thinking about how much I suck, and then I'm like upset because it's not happening, I can't expect myself to get up and run if that is my thought. That's literally not how this works. That's not how metacognition works. Okay. So I want you, if you've been expecting something of yourself where you're going right now and you're realizing, that's making a lot of sense. I want you to give yourself a big hug tonight, because that is okay. It's all about self-awareness. Now that you're aware of it, now we can start to work with something. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break here. So it's a game changer once we're aware of this. And it's all about the thought. And we can change the narrative of almost any situation because of this model. And it takes work. So don't hear me wrong. Now, if this talk has like a crux, and this is like the turning point, this is it. Okay. The romance story, the Harry Potter or whatever you're into, where everyone goes, okay, this is it. This is why this is crucial. It is crucial because right now we have gone into protection mode. The last year, our brains have rerouted and reconfigured and reorganized so that we can survive in a world where there's constant threat. Okay? So when we're in a world where there's constant threat, we're wanting to self-protect. We don't want anything to harm us. That's okay, right? You have to give yourself a break for that. That's just your body trying to protect you, okay? So, and here we go. Because we're protecting ourselves, we're only listening to our own voice, okay? We're only listening to our own voice right now. And we're only doing like gut reaction stuff. There's not a lot of long-term stuff happening right now. And here's why that's dangerous. What we tell ourselves in our mind might be the only voice speaking into the situation in our life right now. These situations are shaping our life. The decisions we're making all the time shape our lives, especially right now. So if your voice is the only thing that you're listening to, dang it, you have to get it right. That doesn't mean you have to be perfect. That means you have to understand your choices. I have a pastor I listen to all the time. She says it this way. If you have two dogs that are in a fight, and we're not promoting dog fighting right now, it's simply just a figure of speech that's happening, okay? Nobody get up in arms. If you have two dogs and they're about to fight, which one is gonna win? So it's pretty open-ended. Which one is gonna win? This answer is simple. It's the one you feed. It's the one you feed. So when you're looking at a situation, you're thinking about how to handle it, and you're thinking, okay, what thoughts do I need to be, do I need to be thinking? What feeling do I need to be feeling so that I can have the action I want? Here's how you got to think about it. You got to think about it in two ways. You got to think about it in two ways. Here's what's going to happen if I have awful thinking. Here's what's going to happen if I have good, supportive, empowering thinking. Which dog am I going to feed? Because you get to feed one. No one's feeding your dogs for you, right? You get to feed one, and that's the one that's going to win. So I want you right now, we're going to talk about the power of choice just for a little bit. How can you talk about that for just a little bit? We're just going to like dip our toe in it, okay? So it comes down to the power of choice. It's simply, the first step is simply, you have to acknowledge you have a choice. So often we just float through life and, oh, I gotta be a class, and oh, I gotta do this, and oh, this is pulling at me, I have to do this, oh my gosh, we got formal, so I have to do this, or sisters are going to do, and all of a sudden we forget we have a say. And remember what we talked about earlier is when we don't feel like we have a say in our own life, that's when the anxiety creeps in. That's when we've got a choice to make. So I want you to think about a situation right now that's causing you anxiety, that's causing you stress. That you maybe as we've been talking, you've been thinking and going, I could really apply that model, that thought, feeling, action model to this scenario. Or maybe you're a chapter leader and you're going, my chapter is really struggling with this. Or they think that meetings are worth nothing. They think that they're sick of virtual events. Well, maybe it's a chapter problem. Maybe it's something that needs to be untangled at a larger level, like your chapter. But maybe it's personal too. I don't want to go to online class. I don't want to do that. What is that situation? I don't want you to type it out. I don't want you to do anything like that. I want you to think about it in your head. But here's what I want you to do. On your paper, in your mind, however you're tracking with me today, I want you to create two triangles right now, not later. Now we're doing it right now. I want you to create two triangles like this. One of the triangles is going to be for when you're having great thoughts. That's the first one. And I want you to mentally or write down on paper, whichever one you're doing. I want you to think about right now, what are those thoughts that I'm going to have? Let's go back to, I'm going to walk you through this because I'm doing it too. So let's use the marathon example. So the thoughts I'm going to have if I'm running a marathon, again, those are going to be, I'm feeling good about this. I believe in myself. So what are those for you? The feeling is going to be, I am motivated. I'm feeling excited. What are those for you? Okay, in your scenario. This action means I'm probably going to run a mile. I'm going to get a step closer to my overall goal. So this is very simple. You can jot down something right now and then come back to it later and flesh it out. But it's very important to say up here your literal thought. Okay? So my literal thought is, it is 6 a.m. Heck, if I'm getting out of bed right now. That's my literal thought. The other side of the paper, I want you to draw another triangle. This one's going to be, these are my thoughts on a day that I am just struggling. I'm struggling so hard right now. Okay, my thought's going to be, it's 6 a.m. I hate this. Let's not. It's freezing. I'm maybe you're saying, I'm overweight. I don't believe in myself. This sucks. What are those exact words? What's your feeling? I'm gonna feel, I'm gonna feel worthless. I'm afraid I'm going to fail again. So I feel inferior to myself. I'm feeling insecure. What's your action? Yeah, I know I'm not gonna get up and run that mile, right? Now, those two charts literally serve as a choice maker for you. You can look at those charts and go, okay, I'm struggling. Okay, I'm struggling. Well, guess what? If you're struggling, these are your thoughts, this is your action. You do not have to put more energy into it. It is black and white. Let's choose to have the right thought so that we can get the action we want. What we're talking about with choice is, if these two are the maps here, we're talking about this gap right here, and you have a say here. And so long, it might feel like you don't. So you do have a say. And what we are doing is we're talking about metacognition, and those people in psychology probably have heard that and they know what that is, but it's really simple. It's all we're doing is creating new pathways in our brain and reinforcing them. It's science. This isn't like me. Woke up and had a good idea. Like, this is science. Okay, it is backed up, and this is how new habits are formed. So let's not overcomplicate it. We have to retrain our brain, and we're not powerless. We're not powerless. Even when you feel like you're powerless, you're not. You always have a say. And when you make the choice to change your mindset, you'll find what you're looking for. And it's really interesting. Let me explain. And it gives you a lot of hope. It gives me a lot of hope. If you're excited, you choose to be excited for a new challenge, well, guess what? You're going to be excited. If you think something's going to be challenging, okay, it'll be challenging. If you wake up and choose to be a grump, you're going to be a grump all day. If you choose to be happy, you're going to be how we can see this in our own life. My favorite example is if you're looking for a couple weeks ago, a month ago, I noticed this license plate in front of me on the interstate, and it had, if you ever seen them, have words on them, like they say, I think this one was like nurse girl or something. I was like, hey, I was talking to my fiance. I was like, well, there's someone in front of me. She like says nurse girl. That's so cool, you know? And and then all of a sudden, I just saw like license plate words everywhere I looked. It was like every day I was noticing different. It's like that one says like skater boy, and that one says go cards. You know, there were like all of these license plates everywhere. I was seeing them everywhere. And it was because I was focused on it. All of a sudden I started looking, you know, and it's like a fun game now. I'll just see them all the time because I was looking. You will find what you're looking for. If you're in the market for a yellow car, guess what you're going to see everywhere? Yellow cars everywhere on the interstate. Likely you all have picked up on this. If you want new shoes, you're going to see the shoes that look like that on everybody, right? So if you focus on what you focus on, you will feel and you will act out of it. It's truly up to you, guys. It's truly up to you. And last couple minutes here together, I want you to remember that this can be on a personal level. This can be on a chapter level. This can work in a family unit. This can work in your friends. You can read people. You can ask them if you're, this is what I use for coaching people. I'm literally, this is my secret. This is how I coach professionally. They'll have a behavior change they want to change. That's what people seek coaching, right? There's a behavior they want to change. Okay. What are you thinking about? How are you thinking about that? How's that making you feel? And what are you doing about it? Okay, if you thought this, what would you feel about it? And what would you do? It's literally how I coach people. So I want you to be empowered and use it in a ton of different ways. And if you want help with introducing this to your chapter, let me help you. Let me sit down with your executive council and explain it. Let me talk to me about what's going on your team, on your executive council, on your or whatever your executive council equivalent is. With your chapter, whatever that looks like, we can create a customized plan. Reach out to me, guys. This is my bread and butter. So what it comes down to is, do you want it? How bad do you want it? And if you're not getting the result you want, sorry, it sucks to hear, but you don't want it enough. How bad do you want it? So I want to end our time together with a poem, okay? And the reason I'm choosing a poem, you'll know. You'll know. It's such a good poem, and it's all about how we're just wired differently, how we have to appreciate where we are on our journey, and how you can love on yourself. And so I want you to do whatever you want to do. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna keep my eyes open. You can close your eyes. Be weird. It's fine. Like, just be weird if you want. Close your eyes. Do whatever you need to do. It's called Dare to Believe. And if you want, I can send this to Janelle or Kylie to get out to you guys if you like it. Everybody I've read this to is like, can you send that? So it's great. All right. It's called Dare to Believe. Everybody knows you can't be all things to all people. You can't do all things at once. I'm going to read that one again. You can't do all things at once, so stop trying. You can't do all things equally well. You can't do all things better than anyone else. Your humanity is showing just like everyone else's. So you have to find out who you are and be that. You have to decide what comes first and do that. You have to discover your strengths and use them. You have to learn not to compete with others. This is key because no one else is in the contest of being you. Then you will have learned to accept your own uniqueness. You will have learned to set priorities and make decisions. You will have learned to give yourself the respect that is due, and you will be a most vital mortal. Dare to believe that you are a wonderful, unique person, that you are, this is true, a once in an all history event. That is you. It is more than your right, it's your duty to be exactly who you are. That life is not a problem to solve, but a gift to cherish. And one day you'll be able to step one up on what used to get you down. Doesn't that feel just like a nice exhale? Isn't that awesome? You are a once in an all history event, y'all. Stand up to that, step into that, and be encouraged by it. Nobody else can be or do what you can do or be. They can't. It is your lane. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Thank you guys so much for spending some time with me and for trusting me with your 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. I am beside myself that you would choose to want to hang out. And I'm going to put up here really quick. The worst thing that could happen to us is that we have so much fun together and then like we never talk again. So I want to provide you with a way to get in hold of me if you want to talk through anything that you heard today. If you want to meet and just grab coffee, I'm open to that. I'm here, I'm local, I'm in Jeff. Reach out to me. So here's my Instagram, here's my LinkedIn, here's my Facebook, that's my website, and that's my email. And then Janelle has my phone number, and I'm totally comfortable if anybody on this call wants it, but reach out to Janelle about it. And guys, thank you so much. And I just want to hear from you. I just want to continue journeying together. So right now, I want to open it up to any questions you have.